Hello and welcome to episode number 2 of our rust bucket restoration. Behind me is the 1966 Volkswagen Karmann Ghia that I converted right-hand drive. If you guys want to get caught up, click here to see episode 1 and to see where we are. So, starting with this episode, we are going to get this car out of the bare metal stage and into a paint stage. That paint being epoxy primer. Now before we do that, we got to clean this car up really well. So what we really got to do is we got to make sure that this bare metal is super clean. That's the most important part, because every successive layer of paint that you're going to add to it all counts on this. So we got to make sure that metal is clean. So the first step, let's get to it. Alright, so the next step in this restoration process is to clean this metal. So I have a mixture in here that I learned from my friend Pete. His YouTube channel is awesome. My friend Pete, awesome stuff. Anyways, it's a 3-to-1 mixture, water to vinegar. So 3 parts water, 1 part vinegar. Cheap vinegar you can buy at the market, you can buy at the 99-cent store. Just mix it in here. It's the white vinegar, and it's going to kill all this rust. Look at all the surface rust. So I'm going to do this to the rest of the car, but I'm going to demonstrate it on this panel here, which is the engine lid. So let's spray it on. Just all over. Don't worry about it. It's not going to hurt a thing. You want to let it sit for a little bit. You want it to eat up all that rust, all that surface rust. Now if you have really thick, bad rust, then yeah, you want to go at it with, like, you know, sandpaper or a metal wheel. But for this kind of stuff, easy. This is the best way to clean your metal before you put epoxy primer. Just let it sit here for a minute. Don't worry about it. Go have a beer, do whatever, I don't know. Just let it sit there.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
After you let it sit for a minute or two, then you want to use a red Scotch-Brite pad. You can buy these at any paint supply store. You can buy these at Home Depot. They're really cheap for a pack. I actually cut them in half because they come in a big, like 8.5 by 11. So cut them in half so you save it. And go at it. So all you got to do is just sand it down. After that, you want to use pure water. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we've let this sit for a little bit. Now we want to start sanding. Look at it. The rust is just coming off. Let me bring it in closer so you can see what's going on. Now before I get ahead of myself, I want to point out that I'm wearing gloves. You want to wear gloves at this point on from working on the car, because you don't want to touch the bare metal, because the oils in your hand are going to mess up the epoxy primer. And if that gets messed up, then your primer is going to get messed up, then your sealer is going to get messed up, then your base coat, then your clear coat. It's all going to fall apart. Wear gloves. Alright, now I know you're probably freaking out because the metal turned brown and looks ugly, and you're like, Jeffrey, what did I get myself into? Don't worry, we're going to take care of it right now. I'm going to use the same cloth and some water, clean water. I'm going to clean this off, clean it off, and then I'm going to go at it with a clean Scotch-Brite pad. Now watch, this is the magic part. Look at that, just disappearing. Clean it off every now and then. Some people like to use a bucket. Some people like to use a bucket. I don't, because you're essentially dunking this in dirty water. So just clean it out with the jet spray, and then go at it. Look at that. Look at that. That metal is clean. Compared to that side, metal is clean. Now remember, you don't want to touch it at this point. Always wear gloves up until you get this thing in epoxy primer. Then you can start touching it, because then you got to apply filler and stuff like that. But right now, you don't want to touch it with bare hands. Remember that. That's very important. once you have it relatively clean and you clean this off, spray it down. You want to get all of the, essentially the acid, which is the vinegar, off of this. Just spray it down, and there's another step before we get to epoxy, don't worry. Look at how clean this metal is now. Remember, you don't want to touch it. This is clean virgin metal. I'll probably do it another time for these vents right here because we need a little bit more help on the in-betweens. But overall, you guys get the idea. 3 parts of water, 1 part vinegar. You can buy it anywhere. Use a red Scotch-Brite pad. Spray it on. Let it sit for a while. And then start scrubbing. Once you scrub, you want to clean it all off with water, clean water. And remember, don't use your bare hands. Well, this is nice and clean. I'm wearing gloves so I can touch it. Now you guys got to do this to the rest of the car, or even if you're working on just single panel, do it again until you're satisfied. Again, it's your car, not mine. This one's mine. I'm a perfectionist, so I'm going to do it another time to get these little vents right here. But it's fine. And what you'll notice is parts where the vinegar water worked, they'll turn black. That's good. It ate away all the rust. It's doing its job. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. You want to do it again? Go ahead and do it again. So a lot of you asking, well, do I have to do this? Is it 100% necessary? The answer is no, it isn't. I'm doing it because I have surface rust here. And I have surface rust because I let it sit in bare metal for too long. If you're doing this in a day and you stripped it down in bare metal, you're ready to paint the same day, go for it. You don't need to do this step. But you do need to clean the metal so you don't get any fingerprints or oils in it. That we'll cover in the next step after I'm done with this. Alright, so I got just regular towels. I buy these in like a 12-pack from Costco. Pretty cheap. I already finished the process. Now we got to dry it. Remember, gloves, don't forget. Suffice to say, you're going to go through a lot of rags. And you should get in the habit of using paper rags as opposed to cloth rags because these dissolve. Cloth rags don't, especially when you're building engines. But that's way in front of us. We'll get there when we need to, but use paper. Now if you notice as I'm drying off the car, I'm getting this. This is bits of rust, right? Look on the cloth, okay? That's okay. We're going to take care of it in the next step. We just want to make sure it's dry right now, which it is. Let's move on to the next step. The next step is to clean off all the fingerprints that you may have on it if you didn't do the vinegar wash, and any other contaminants and all this dirt, because remember on that blue cloth I still had like rust on it. Well, we're going to get rid of that right now, and it's going to be clean and ready for epoxy primer. What am I going to use? Spray away glass cleaner. Now you want to get this, you get this at Home Depot, Ace, anywhere really, but you want the spray away brand. It seems to work the best, I don't know why, but you want it ammonia free, no ammonia in it, or else it's going to leave a residue and then everything's going to fall apart. So ammonia free, you can't find it with ammonia. I think I've seen it only one time, but 99% of the time you're going to find this exact can, so don't worry about it. It's spray away, ammonia free, spray it on, wipe it off, keep cleaning until your paper cloth is clean as a whistle. There's nothing left on it because that's the good base that you want for your epoxy primer. So let's just spray it like we're cleaning windows and keep cleaning it until we have nothing on here. Let's go. There we go. Give it a second to sit. Start wiping. So look at that. There's still stuff on it. That means it's still dirty. That means it's not ready for epoxy. Still dirty. Keep going. I usually find if I do an initial spray and wipe it down and then I come back, it's a lot faster. Look, Still dirty. Keep going. Now that you guys saw me clean that deck lid, now you know how to clean your own bare metal. Remember, 3 parts water, 1 part vinegar, spray it, let it sit, scrub it with a red Scotch-Brite, go at it with clean water, scrub it again, clean water again, get it all off, then dry it, and then go at it with the spray away. Once you got that, it's all clean and ready for epoxy primer. Now I got to do the rest of this car. And don't forget, gloves the whole time. Alright, now you guys know how to lay a good foundation for your paint job. I'm sorry I couldn't do the epoxy primer today. We'll do it in the next episode. But I really can't stress enough that this is the most important part out of entire restoration. If you don't have a good foundation, which is clean, bare metal, then nothing else is going to stick to it and it's going to fall apart. That's going to separate you from doing an excellent paint job from doing a crappy paint job. And I don't want that for you. I want you guys to do the best. So next episode, we're going to do the epoxy primer. I'm going to talk about the activator, mixing paint, shaking paint, all that, induction times, all that stuff. So bear with me. This channel is really growing. You guys have been excellent and awesome. So please like, subscribe, tell others about it. This is only going to get better. We're going to do the epoxy primer, then we're going to do an episode on body filler, then we're going to do an episode on high build primer, and we're going to take it from there. So I hope you guys are excited as I am. Thanks.